Okay.
Okay, it's live.
It looks live.
So I had a bit of a technical difficulty, and we didn't realize till now that it wasn't live. My bad. All right. So moving forward, they would have seen that we shared our channel. In any case, all of the channels for all of us will be below, I promise. And let's just have a look here. So just so that people don't miss that like good information, do you want to just give us like a little synopsis, just a quick version of what you were talking about with giving birth in Sweden? So just all of the different options, just a summary.
Yeah, sure. I'm kind of rambly, but I will try to keep it short. Basically, when you are at the hospital giving birth, you have a midwife and a nurse in the room with you, and you only see a doctor if something is wrong or if you want an epidural or something that a doctor needs to do. The doctor doesn't help you give birth. The nurses and midwives do that. And you can have home births, I think. I've never looked into it, but I'm sure you can. I just think you need to talk to the doctors and stuff beforehand so that they know what's going on.
Cool. All right, and then Cara was telling us, do you want to tell us about your family from Sweden again? Because they missed all of that. Cara?
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, my husband's great-grandfather came from Sweden. I was just trying to look up the date again. I think it was in the 1890s. He was baptized a member of the LDS Mormon Church and decided to come to Idaho to live with the missionary who had baptized him and work on their family farm. And he didn't speak any English at all, and he arrived with 11 cents in his pocket, he said. So he pretty much had nothing, and he worked for them for 2 years, and then he went and worked for some other farmers, and eventually he earned enough money, and he bought a farm in eastern Idaho, and had a big family and a nice life, and became a state senator, and I don't know, just really had a good life. They were pretty poor in Sweden. I don't know. It sounded like they had a large family there, and he just didn't have all the opportunities. And I don't know if maybe in the course of Swedish history things became more what's the word, socialized? I don't know, or what happened there. I don't know much about it. So that'd be interesting to learn about.
Yeah, well, I think we've got somebody here that we can maybe ask about those types of things. She might know some of them. All right.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know a lot. I obviously have read about Swedish history in school, but it was a long time ago. And yeah, but I know that there was kind of this rush when a lot of people from Sweden moved to America because they felt that they could earn a lot more money there, and kind of the young virile boys moved over there, or just went over there, and then they sent money home for their families and stuff. So I know that was very very common back then. And I think Sweden was pretty poor in general. I think it took some time before we industrialized and got some more civilization going here, I guess.
So is English something that you guys study automatically in school? Because obviously your English is impeccable. So
It's good. Better than mine.
Thank you. Yes, we do take English from, I think, year 2 of school. And then you do take English for, well, at least 7 or 8 years, I think. So it's definitely mandatory. And I think I have a better English than a lot of people here in Sweden, because I have always been a computer nerd, and I have always been on the internet and interacting with people online and stuff. So I think I always said growing up that, oh, at least 50% of the English I know I got from the internet, not from school. And I still think that's pretty much true. I got the basics from school, and then I just learned. And I know I taught my teachers some words and stuff that they had marked it and said, this is not a word. And I had to show them, this is a word. I learned this on the internet, and it is a word. So I've always been very interested in English in general. So I think that's why I, first off, can do my vlogs in English. I don't think a lot of Swedish people would feel comfortable enough to do that, but I just went for it, and I think it's very fun.
Yeah,
it's great. You were a wuss when you were having your baby, and I thought, How do you know that word? Like someone who's afraid. Oh, and
well,
something.
I have to say TV has helped too. I watch a lot of TV shows, and WUS is pretty common, I think, in this English language. So yeah.
I'm Swiss too. Don't worry.
That's funny. So I've got a few questions from Gareth because you know he always likes to add in his 2 cents. So the first question, which is really fun, it wants to know if every Swedish person is an Abba fan.
Say hi.
Well, I don't think so. I think we kind of, in a way, we have to be, but no, not everyone likes ABBA here, and that's okay. But we do have an ABBA museum here in Stockholm. I've never been, but yeah, we do have a museum, an entire museum for them. So I guess they've been very big for our country, but that's kind of before my time. So I only heard ABBA music through my mom, who loved it when I was a kid, basically.
Cool. All right. So the other question that he has, which neither of these are really relating to parenting, but that's okay. Everyone wants to know all about Sweden. When I hear about Sweden, it's usually like, oh, I bet they do that in Sweden because Sweden's perfect, or, you know, that's what I hear. So tell me, what type of, like, renewable resources, like, how do you guys run your country energy-wise?
Oh my goodness, that's a big question. I can't say that I know not much about it.
Do you guys have windmills and stuff everywhere, or?
No, not that I've seen. But I think we're pretty good with that kind of thing. But I don't know any specifics. I know that the government is trying to kind of put resources in it, but I don't know how far we've come. And it's especially compared to other countries, I don't know how far we've come. So I'm not sure.
Cool. That's all right. I thought I'd ask anyways. Although, I mean, no pressure. I wasn't expecting you to be like yeah, it's okay. Okay, so what type of support do you have once you're home? Like, I know, like, our friends were living in France after they had their baby. They had, the government gave them, like, someone to come in and clean their house for them while they were at home. And, you know, do you guys... do you get any supports like that?
No, we definitely have never had anyone clean our house, and you can see that from our blogs. We don't have any help like that. I mean, we have financial support for being at home with our kids, but I think that's basically it. We don't have any cleaning help or babysitters or anything like that we just get for free.
So what about parental leave after you have your baby? How long can you stay home?
I don't know. Well, I do know the days because I actually have them on my desktop. Let's see. You can kind of stay at home with your kid as long as you want within the days that you have paid. And let's see what I've written down. You have 390 plus 90 days, so that's 480 days.
Wow.
That you get paid from the government, and the amount you get paid is relative to your income before you had the baby. And I've always been studying, so I have the lowest you can have. So I don't get a lot of money, but still, it's definitely a big help. And that's kind of one of the things when you talk about it with friends and they kind of complain, oh, I don't get enough money, and you're like, well, in like America and some places, you barely get to be at home with your kid at all. And we should probably be pretty thankful for that, because it's a very big deal. I could never have left Tyrion the first few months, and I still have him home a lot since I'm studying, so I can have him home some days during the week too. So yeah, that's a big thing I think that we should be thankful for here.
So compare that to America. Cara, how long do you guys get after you have your baby for parental leave? How long paid by the government can you stay home?
I don't know that we get it paid by the government. I need my husband here. He knows all these answers. I haven't worked. I only worked one semester in the last 15 years. Can you imagine? Anyway, so I stayed home my whole children's lives, basically, so I don't know the answers, but it's not very much, and I don't think it's paid by the government at all. I think you just get maybe some money from your employer, maybe, or they hold your job. I think that's all you get. I don't know, and I think it's 3 or 6 weeks to 3 months or something like that.
Wow.
I don't know. I need to ask my husband. He knows. But they do offer a little bit for the spouse, like maybe, I don't know, maybe they get 6 weeks off, but I don't know if it's paid, and I don't know. I think they just hold your place. I don't know.
That's an interesting comparison. So like a few weeks in the States, Canada is a year, so you get 1 year, which to me even seems way too, I mean, yeah, that's why I'm not working now and I'm a student, because I get way more time at home with them as a student. And then, yeah, like over a year, almost a year and a half in Sweden. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I guess I've never really compared it that way. I just knew that we had it very good, but hearing it that way and knowing that Canada is kind of one of the perfect countries as well, yeah, we definitely have it good.
That's funny. So you mentioned school, and something else that I've heard along the Sweden perfect grapevine is that Swedish people get free university. Is this factual?
Yes, absolutely. It sure is. All university courses are for free, and we get financial aid for that too. So we get a certain amount of money for the kind of the points of university courses that we take, and we have, I think we have 6 years in total that we get money for studying, basically. And I have used up, I think, 5 of those years, and I have 3 years left on my teacher program. So yeah, I'm running out of money, and I'm like complaining to people. And again, then you think of like America, where you have to pay to go to school, and I get paid to go to school. So I probably shouldn't complain, but I am getting a bit worried about that.
Yeah, we pay out the Yahoo for school as well. Well, it's like about between $500 to $600 per class, and each semester it has 5 classes for full-time study, and like a degree is 40 classes. So $500 to $600 times 40, it adds up. But if you get high enough grades, and if you're like a low-income family, then they do give you quite a bit back in bursaries. But definitely not the same as getting paid to go to school.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of puts it into perspective again for me.
Wow.
Kate wants to move right now. She's like, okay, Sweden is #1 on our list.
Yeah, you should come here next.
Do your teachers get paid well?
That's, I guess, the part where I am not very blessed, or I won't be very blessed when I am finished with school, because teachers don't get a lot of money, and especially preschool teachers, which is what I'm going to become. We get, or they get, the least amount of money of all teachers here. So, but the government is working on that too. They're trying to kind of make it. I don't know how to say it in a good way, but kind of make it look like a better job than it has been. If you say that you work at a preschool, people are like, oh, okay, it's not a big thing, and they don't kind of appreciate that you've been to school for 3.5 years to do that. But the government is trying to really put resources into giving it a better status, I guess. That's probably the best word.
Wow.
Johnny, do you know how much leave people get when they have babies by law? I'm just asking if he knows,
Cool.
the laws for after you have a baby. How much time off do you get? With or without pay, do you know? Here, he thinks you get 6 months without pay.
Or I think it's up to your employer with pay. I'm not sure if there's a law that you have to have so much.
Oh, here. Here's my Swedish husband.
Hi, John. He's like, who is that person? I don't know who that person is.
I'm trying to make lunch.
That's all right. I think we're in your cupboard right now. That's okay. Yeah, teachers here, they get paid decent amounts, but the reason why, because I'm not sure if you know Alexander, but Gareth and I are both studying to become teachers. So we'll be, yeah, perhaps you did know that, but we're looking into moving other places because most Asian countries, if you work for an international school, they give you a decent salary, plus they pay for your airfare, they give you moving expenses, they give you free housing, and yeah,
Wow.
all of these really awesome perks. So if that's something you want to look into, I'm sure there's places in Asia that would love a Swedish preschool teacher.
I don't think I'm adventurous enough for that, but that sounds awesome. And I know that Finland, which is right next to us, the teachers get paid a lot more there. So a lot of Swedish teachers actually moved to Finland to work there. So that's the reason why we don't have enough teachers here. And you'd think with not enough teachers they would pay them more, but apparently not.
Oh. See, I had heard before that, and it must not have been Sweden, that there was some country in that area where teachers were actually paid like on par with doctors.
Yeah, I think that's Finland. If it's around here, it's definitely Finland. They have it very good there, the teachers.
Wow. That's kind of amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
So I found an interesting little fact here, which I thought you ladies might want to know, because I've heard so much about baby, like the, what is it called, infant mortality rate in different parts of the world. So comparing Sweden, Canada, and America, Sweden is number 4 out of all of the countries in the world, with only approximately 3 or 4 deaths per 1,000 babies. And then Canada, even though it's such a good place, is all the way down at 24 with like 7 to 8. And then America is all the way down at 34 with closer to. So it tells me that in that aspect, Sweden's doing something right.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing right, but that sounds good. I know that also when I was pregnant with Tyrion, and I was very nervous to have him, they kind of calmed me by saying that research shows that we have the lowest rate in the world, I think at that time, of babies dying during birth or during delivery, and that was very reassuring to know. If there is a place to give birth to your baby safely, it's probably in Sweden, so that felt very good.
Yeah. Oh, wow. There's lots of people talking. Oh, hey. Canadian Family Vlog. Hey, guys. I'm going to chat here. Oh, there's lots of people talking.
Wow, that's fun. I don't have the link, I think, but I'm going to go through it later.
Secretly tuning in at work.
Naughty.
Megan, an Imperfect Mummy, said, "We do not get paid at all. Your work is required to give you 6 weeks, but that's it. If you have a short-term disability, you can get paid for the 6 weeks for vaginal delivery or 12 weeks for cesarean." And she said, "Some companies do pay, but not all of them will pay you. I took 12 weeks off, 6 paid by short-term disability, and the other 6 were unpaid." Which, to me, I can't even imagine not being able to stay home with my babies for that long. I know that people do it, and that's totally fine. I just can't imagine it. Like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a question here, because I know that like one of the biggest YouTubers of all time is from Sweden.
Yes.
PewDiePie.
Yeah.
I have a fun question. Have you guys ever met PewDiePie? I don't know where he lives. Does he live? Do you know?
I think he lives in America somewhere.
Oh,
I think
does
he
he?
lives in like Los Angeles or something. I'm not sure if he moved there once he got big and famous and probably rich, but I just remember reading that somewhere. But yeah, he's a big YouTuber and he's Swedish, and I don't know how he did it.
Wow. Cool.
You're not impressed with his content? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, I haven't watched a lot of his content, I have to admit, so that's definitely not what I'm saying. I want the secret. I want to do it too.
Oh, I've got a few.
I don't want to be that.
Sorry.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just said I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that big. I don't think I'd be able to make sandwiches for my family if I was a big time YouTuber.
Yeah, true.
Okay, there's one question. Megan, an Imperfect Mummy, asked, kind of parenting related, but not at the same time. I'm curious to know their most popular baby names right now. So, can I tell them how you got your son's name, or do you want to? It excites me. You tell them.
No, you can tell them. I can look up the common baby names while you tell them.
Okay. So if any of you are big Game of Thrones fans, she actually named her baby Tyrion from the Game of Thrones. So yeah, that excites me because we really love Game of Thrones. So
yeah, we do too, obviously.
yeah.
I actually have the lists here of the most common boy names and girl names in Sweden from 2012 and 2013. And at the top of the boy names is William, Oscar, Lucas, Hugo, Elias, and Alexander. So all of those are names that also work in English, and I think that's kind of one of the trends right now, that you want names that your kids can use internationally without having to constantly explain how they are pronounced. And let's see, for the girls, I think it's more like oldish Swedish names that we would traditionally kind of associate with great grandmas, but they are popular again. So that's Alice, Elsa, Julia, Ella, Maja, Ebba, and some of those are more typical Swedish names.
Oh, well, both Cara and I have Ellas, so.
Oh!
I have.
So you would fit in Sweden?
Sorry, Cara.
My baby boy is Eli William.
Oh! Well, I guess I'm the only one who has a weird kid, or a weird named kid.
Okay, I have a good question here from Canadian Family Vlog. I don't know, is that Nick or Vicky? I'm not sure. You guys can comment on that in the comments. They want to know, in Sweden, what is the average size of family?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know what it is now, but I know growing up, people always joked that it was 2.5 kids. So I guess between 2 and 3 is the most common, but I think maybe now it's more varied. I'm not sure, but I just feel like there are a lot of different dynamics in families now, and I'm sure that's true for where you live too, that lots of people get divorced and they have new spouses and new kids, and it's just this jumble, and I have that too in my family, so I think that's more common now. But I know traditionally people usually say like 2.5.
Cool. Oh, it's Nick. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was you sneaking in at work or Vicky sneaking in at work. Everybody say hi to Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
All right, so let me have a look. I think there's other people chatting, but let me just check here. So, something we didn't talk about. Well, we kind of did. Healthcare. Tell me about your healthcare.
Yeah, this is another thing that I'm not super knowledgeable about, but we do have good healthcare. We have kids up to, I think, age 18 have free healthcare, anything you want pretty much. Yeah, everything is paid by the state, right? I guess I'm not sure if you should say the state, but taxes and that kind of stuff. Everyone contributes to help those who needs it here in Sweden, and even for adults, it's very, very cheap. You still have to pay a fee for going in to see a doctor, but it's not a lot of money at all. I don't have the conversions in my head to dollars, but it's not much. And after a certain point, you actually don't have to pay anymore for a year. So since I've been doing fertility treatments for a year and a half now, I do go to a lot of doctor's visits, and I basically had to pay, let's see, 1, 2, 3, for my first 4 visits. And then I got this card that said that I was up to my limit for a year, so I don't have to pay for a year, wherever I am now. I don't remember when I got the card. So that's a very good thing, and we have that for medication as well, a different card. So you can never be kind of ruined by your medical expenses, and that is, yeah, that's very good. I've heard on YouTube, for example, about families who are raising money to have surgeries for their kids and stuff, and that breaks my heart that you have to go through that kind of stuff just to get the necessities for your children.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Canada is kind of similar, except there's no like cutoff point. Like you have to pay for some medications. We should say though that like Sweden, you guys have such amazing health care, and you said the taxes. Your tax rate is like one of the highest tax rates in the world, isn't it? Like, don't you have like what is your tax rate? Do you know, like 20-30% or something, or?
Well, I'm a student, so I don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure. I know 25% is some kind of magical number, but I think it varies kind of depending on different things and your income and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely, we have high taxes, but I don't know. I think it's good, but maybe that's just because I've needed a lot of medical help and stuff. For me and for my kid and that sort of thing. And since we don't have a lot of money, if we didn't have this safety net, I don't know what we would have done. So I think it's worth it with all the high taxes, but I don't think everyone does.
I would much rather pay high taxes than and like make sure that everybody was safe and comfortable and taken care of, because I don't think it's like that in the States. I mean, Cara, what's your healthcare like there comparatively?
Our healthcare is not good. We, as a family of 6, pay over $700 a month for health insurance. And let's see, if, for instance, my kid has an ear infection of that big, I can take and we'll probably charge like $100, but I pay $30 because I have a copay. So I pay $30. And then I have to pay for the medication, which I get a little bit reduced rate. But to cure an ear infection will cost at least $50, at least. And like we don't have any vision insurance. We don't have any dental insurance. Anything elective that you want to do is very expensive. We have $3,000. So that, like what Alexandra was saying, where you have to meet a certain level, we have to meet $3,000 in the year. So, I mean, if you're going to have a baby, yes, that usually meets it. But, and then after that, we have to pay 20% of the expenses after that.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't catch. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I didn't catch everything you said, but I remembered that, like dental and glasses and stuff, you have to pay for that. Kind of on your own. You don't have the cutoff on those. I forgot that. Not when you're a kid. Up until 18, it's all free. But when you're an adult, if you have bad teeth, you better pay up. So yeah. And there was something else that you said that I wanted to say something about. Oh yeah, you said the cutoff is like 3,000 in a year. I don't, as I said, I don't have the exact numbers in my head, but I think for us it's like $100 maybe comparatively. So that's a big difference.
There are government programs for people who don't, who have lower income. So they have Medicare for like older people, and that doesn't even pay for everything either. And then Medicaid for like younger people. But it's expensive. It's a problem, And I don't know. I almost wish that they could go at the source of the hospital and reduce costs like that. But then I have family who are medical professionals, and college for them was so expensive, so they need to recuperate those costs of their college. are. You know, they work 12-hour shifts, and I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
They should come to Sweden and study to become doctors for free, and then they can go back and make the big bucks without having to pay anything back.
Wow.
Yeah, you probably have to get in on that, right?
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
Only for citizens, though, right? For the free education?
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't really know. Since I'm a citizen, I've never worried about it. But yeah, that sounds very likely.
I have a few questions here. So we've got one from Silvergirl623. So she wants to know, do you have any weird laws in Sweden? So it may not seem weird to you, so it might not be strikingly obvious, but can you think of any? Oh, no, I'll talk about that in a minute. But so anything that you can think of that's like way different, that you know of is way different?
Obviously, as you said, if they're weird, I probably don't think they're weird. But one thing I know that I think is weird, and it's pretty gross as well, and I'm not sure if that's just very weird for Sweden or if all countries are like this. But I know there's been a lot of talk that it's legal to have intercourse with animals here.
It's legal?
Yeah, it's not illegal, I guess. It's not like they've said, this is okay, do this. But it's not against the law unless you kind of hurt the animal or something, because, of course, then it would be animal cruelty. But I think as an animal person, I just think that's very weird. But that's the only thing I can come up with right now on the spot.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the animal would consent. What do they say? Yes.
Yeah. Me neither.
So moving on from that quickly, I found something, actually Gareth found it the other day, and I mentioned it already to Alexandra, and she had no clue what I was talking about, but there's this thing, and if you Google it, it's called Flogged. I don't know if that's how you say it, but it's basically if you're in Sweden at nighttime, and you open up your window, and you can Google it, it's Flogsta, and you shout out the window, and then wait, you'll hear multiple people yelling back, and it'll just carry on, and on, and on, and on. And there's a few different videos, like about a dozen at least videos that I found of people doing this on YouTube.
That's crazy to me. I've never heard about this before. But Floggsta is a city, or I guess a suburb of a city here in Sweden. So I'm not sure if that's kind of a thing in that suburb. If it's from there, I have no clue. But it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll try it. Go open the window and go yell something.
Yeah, what time is it right now? What time is it?
It is almost 9 p.m.
Hey, you want to try?
No, thank you. I don't want my neighbors to think that I'm completely crazy.
That's funny. That's okay. Okay. So we got Megan, an Imperfect Mummy, having some awesome questions here. So she wants to know, do your children see pediatricians in Sweden? I know here in the U.S. we primarily see a pediatrician for all of our needs, but in Canada you see a family doctor and only a pediatrician for emergencies. Actually, Megan, we have a pediatrician that we see for all of our kids, and it's when they get older that they see the family doctor, but that may be different in different places. But what is it like in Sweden?
Well, is it bad that I don't really know? I mean, we don't have a specific doctor that we always go to. We have a clinic where we basically call them if something is wrong, and we can go there. So he sees different doctors depending on what's the problem. And he has seen pediatricians a few times when it's been specific, like kid problems. And a few weeks ago when he had a cough, we went in just to get... I don't need to get into that. We just to get a paper to prove that he was sick, so that we would get money from the state again. And that was, I think, just a regular doctor, because it was just, it wasn't a specific baby or a kid thing. So I think it varies depending on what the problem is.
Cool. Cool. Oh, Nick has a question here, and it sort of ties in with another question that I was going to ask. Now I kind of know the answer to this because I've watched some of your, well, I watched many of your vlogs, and I've seen like ones where Tyrion has gone to play school and stuff, and I think you call it preschool. Do you have public school system, or is it mainly private school? Nick would like to know. So maybe even just give us like a breakdown when, because I've heard that they don't start kindergarten until like 6 or 7 or 8 even, like you can delay it. What is the school system like?
About the public and private, it is both. We, like 10, 15 years ago, we had public schools only, and then the new government opened up to open private schools and preschools, so that's become pretty big since then. In my municipality, I think that's the word, my little part of Stockholm, I think we have 4 public preschool and like 25 private ones. So it varies in different parts of the country, but private has been very popular. I'm not exactly sure why, but yeah, that's kind of a short breakdown of that. And then when it comes to the school system, the words are kind of difficult to use. The American, like you said, kindergarten and preschool, here we usually use them as the same thing. So I'm just gonna try to explain what I mean. We have preschool that starts from 1 year. So when I actually forgot to tell that before, but before your kid is 1 year old, they are not allowed in preschool. So you basically have to be home with your kid. You don't really have a choice unless you get like a babysitter or a nanny or something. But most people are home for at least a year because they are not allowed in preschool before that. So at 1, they start, or they can start preschool. And then they go there for, let's see, until they turn 6. And at 6, they go to a 1 year kind of, I guess you should call it that preschool, because that is the basic prep for school. So it's kind of a mix between just playing around like they do in preschool and proper schooling. So they usually are in the school, but they don't have those rigid schedules and that stuff. So that's 1 year when they're 6 to 7, and then when they turn 7, that's when they start first grade here. And then they go to grade 9, and then that's the mandatory school. And then after that, you go to, I guess you would call it high school, and that's not mandatory. So, yeah.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, here kids start kindergarten when they're 5, and they go all the way up to grade 12. So that grade 12, you're usually about 17, 18, and then you go to like, you can go to university, or you can go to like a trade school or whatever. University and like college in the States, that's sort of interchangeable.
Yeah.
Is it the same?
Is it mandatory up until 17, 18, or is it?
I think you have to be like 16 or have like parental consent, but it's like a dropping out. Yeah, I mean that.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're from a very low socioeconomic, I mean, unless you come from a very poor family and you have to go and work because you're too poor to go to school and you have to help support, you go to school till grade 12. That's
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Cara? Is it?
Let's see. Kids usually start school about 5 years old. At our school, we have a really small school. There's only about 50 kids per grade, and they have a preschool, kind of a developmental preschool. Like my daughters each had to have speech therapy, so they went to preschool. And if you have kind of a developmental delay, then you can go for free, but I guess they're starting to charge now for like kids. So they want, I think it's $12 a month or something, just to help pay for supplies and different things. So anyway, so that's been kind of a little controversy in our community, but I mean, when Eli's that age, I'll be happy to send him for $12 a month, just because it's a good school. We have good teachers. And
oh, that's cool.
I think you can drop out when you're 16 or something. Kind of similar situation. You just go until you're, my kids will be 18 when they graduate, all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of interesting. The school system is something you could talk about and compare for hours and hours. Just and like again, money. I know in some or maybe all American schools, the kids have to take lunch with them to school from home, and that would never be accepted here. That's like one of the laws when it comes to school, that the school have to provide lunch and stuff for the kids. And yeah, it's an interesting topic, especially for us who are becoming teachers.
Mm-hmm. We have a school lunch. We have a cafeteria where they make a hot lunch for the kids, and it costs about $2 a day for the kids to take hot lunch. If you have an average income, if you have a lower income, I think they can reduce it to 45 cents a day. And for people who really don't have any money, then they can have free. I mean, it happens. My sister was on free lunch for a long time when she was a kid, but my daughter doesn't like to eat at the lunch, so I have to pack her a lunch every day, the 15-year-old, because she doesn't think it's cool to eat there anymore. So anyway.
I have another couple of really awesome questions here that I want to get through, and I don't want to make this too long, just because I don't know how Cara's internet's holding out right now, so sometimes it's a little dodgy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick asked about, and I know that there's a few countries in Europe, and Germany, I know for sure, homeschooling is illegal. What about in Sweden?
I don't know if it's illegal, but it's definitely not common. I actually don't know. I've never really thought about it or heard about it in Sweden, so maybe it is illegal. I'm gonna have to look that up actually. But I think I'm assuming we have a very rigid curriculum and stuff, so I'm assuming if you can homeschool your kids, you're gonna have to. No, kids have to have teachers. So I don't think you can homeschool here, unless maybe the kids' parents are teachers, but that kind of, yeah, I don't know. I don't think when I'm thinking about it, I don't think it's something you can do here.
That's interesting.
I have a lot of friends who homeschool their kids. Sometimes they don't like the social situation, the naughty things the kids learn from the other kids, so they want to keep them at home. Sometimes the kids have learning disabilities. I know my friend Amanda, her son, he has, I think, fetal alcohol syndrome. He was adopted, and he just doesn't learn at the same rate as his peers, so she homeschools him. And in that situation, the government will provide you with a computer and all of the materials. My cousin, she homeschools her kids. Anyway, you just have to keep them on track, and I think it would be really efficient. You could just say to your kid, okay, go learn your thing now. I don't know. I don't do it just because I'm kind of lazy, and I think it's good for the kids to learn about bullies and stuff like that sometimes. It's
definitely very real world. I know that there have been moments where Ella has gone to school and because she's kind of not flighty, she's whimsical, so she's got like such a big imagination, and she likes to take her time when she's learning things, and that's not always possible in a classroom with like 25 other kids. So sometimes when she comes home and she's not grasping something, I'm like, man, I wish I could just keep her home and like teach her myself. And it is possible in Canada. You're allowed to do all of that stuff in Canada. I think it varies from state to state, doesn't it, Cara, as to whether or not you're allowed to homeschool your kids?
I don't know. I think it's legal everywhere. I think. I'm trying to think. I think it's legal everywhere. Just as long as your kids can, take the tests and reach, show that they're learning on the and they're learning according to the state standards, etc.
Right.
I think it's legal everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
I just checked on Wikipedia, so maybe not the most safe source, but it said that homeschooling in Sweden was legal up until 2010, so I'm assuming it's not legal anymore.
Oh, that's interesting. I just got a message from Nick that I'm trying to find. said something about my voice being a little bit choppy, and then tell Gareth to, I don't know, I'm guessing, where did it go? Oh, tell Gareth to stop streaming our vlog upstairs. He's hilarious. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's something else that I think I'd like to know about. So I know in the States and in Canada, it's always such a huge, contentious issue to talk about, like, standardized testing within school systems. Is that something that's big in Sweden? Do you guys have a lot of... Do you make your kids all take the exact same tests to show that they're at the exact same levels?
Yeah, we have tests that are, what's it called? Oh, English.
Standardized? Is that...
Yeah, that it's every kid in the entire country has to take them at a certain point. Like I think year 6 of school and year 9, maybe year 8 too, and I think it's math, Swedish, and English, because those are the 3 kind of basic subjects that you take in school. So we do have those, and I'm not sure how much. I mean, if they go towards the grade, or if they're just to make sure that kids in Sweden are still doing pretty well. But I also know that there's been a lot of talk about international standardized tests like PISA, and I know there are others that I don't remember. And Sweden is not doing very well in those. So there's been a lot of changes to the curriculum to kind of, because it's not that our kids aren't learning, but they are not learning the things that the international tests are testing. So for some reason, Sweden thinks we need to look good, so they're changing our curriculum to match what the tests are testing, which sounds kind of weird to me, but hopefully it's good in the long run. But yeah, so those tests I think are more talked about and much more like, oh no, we're not doing good on the international list.
I think the issue that I have with the standardized tests isn't so much that like every kid that has to do them, but it's more so that there are so many different types of learners. And I know I have to sit down and like see something and like do something with my hands and like possibly hear it before it sticks in my brain. And so if a kid who needs to go through that process to show that they've learned something has to sit down and write the exact same test as everybody else, I mean, it's not... I mean, I think it might be the type of test that's actually not showing what they've learned. You know,
Yeah,
does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not ideal at all to test every kid the same way, because that's not the way it works. I definitely know what you mean.
Yeah. Jumping back to a question that I don't want to forget, because I know that it's important to Nick because he really loves camping. he asked that he had heard that you can camp anywhere in Sweden. Hang on, whereas I heard in Sweden you can camp anywhere you want for one night on anyone's property.
I know that there's some truth to that. I'm not a camper, unfortunately, but I know that we have this specific law that says that people are allowed kind of everywhere. Not everywhere. They're not allowed to disturb people on their property. So you can't just camp on someone's front porch or on their driveway or something. But if it's a very big property and no one's being bothered by it, I believe you're allowed to go there, even if someone owns the land. So it's not like America where you're allowed to shoot people for going on your land. I think of this kind of old man in a rocking chair on his porch, like, get off my lawn stuff that they talk about in American TV shows. We don't have that at all. Yeah.
Would you shoot somebody for camping on our land, John?
No.
Oh, John wouldn't shoot anybody for camping on our land.
Woohoo!
Maybe if they ask first.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Oh, that's funny. And something that you might not know as well is Cara and her farm is actually how far? 70 miles away from the tards land, which is
Yeah. I want to go find them.
Yeah.
Do you think they'd shoot you if you went on their yard? If you were like, hey, hi?
No, maybe if I walked up the front steps and like knocked on the door and introduced myself. But I gotta tell you, I'm neighbors with Mommy Tart's stepbrother and his wife, and she said she was talking to her mother-in-law, so that would be Mommy Tart's stepmother, and she said, "Oh, you should just invite her over to a family party sometime." I'm like, oh my gosh, I could go to a family party with the Shea Tards.
Oh, I'm jealous. I've loved them for so many years. I'm so jealous.
I know, they were the ones I ever watched, because I'm like, oh, they're from Idaho, well, let's watch. And
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know.
That's cool.
Store.
Oh, Nick said in Canada you need a permit to camp, and you're only allowed to camp at designated areas or Crown land. Crown land just means land that belongs to the Queen. Oh, are you guys up? I've heard that it's actually like the Kingdom of Sweden. Do you guys have like a monarchy?
Yeah, we have a king and a queen, and their 3 kids, and they're kids now. But I mean, they're for show. They're for tourism and that kind of thing. They don't do anything. I mean, they work in charity work and they go around the world and do good things, but they don't have any say in anything. But yeah, they're there, I guess.
That's cool. Wow. Okay. What? Was that John talking? Saying something?
Never mind.
Okay, I'm just going to run through my list here because I think that I've asked all the questions. English. Oh, do you have IKEA everywhere? Like, is your home just like full of IKEA stuff? Oh.
Yes. Yes, my home is definitely full of IKEA stuff. I love IKEA, and like I could turn the computer and you would see. Well, first off, the bed is IKEA. The bedding is IKEA. This table is IKEA. Not sure what you can see, but the mess over there, the clothes aren't from IKEA, but everything else pretty much. And all the stuff up there. So yes, my home is full of IKEA for sure. But we don't have IKEA stores everywhere. I think we have 3 in Stockholm, and Stockholm is the biggest city in Sweden. So they're not everywhere, but they're definitely popular, and I love IKEA, so yeah.
Wow.
Patriotism.
Do you, like, I've also, because I really like those home building shows that you can watch. I think there's an American one, or I don't know where they're from, but they own this, like, they order in these prefabbed, so like prefabricated houses, and most of the time they come from Sweden, and they look like they're made by IKEA, but they're like big houses that they just pieced together, like a piece of IKEA furniture, and it's the coolest thing ever. Do you know about those? Like, are lots of your houses made like that?
No, I've never heard of that before, but that sounds cool.
In my mind, I had imagined that like that's how all Swedish houses were built. So I'm glad that I didn't think that anymore. Okay. Okay, great job. Oh. Okay, I think Nick is peacing out. Okay, does anybody have any other questions? Just wait for 2 seconds here.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a delay, right? I think so.
It's about like 5 seconds or something like that.
Well, that's not bad.
Do you guys have any other things that you want to add in before we just talk about our channels and say our goodbyes?
If you want me to say something in Swedish, you can. You can make me do that. I thought since I'm the first, I think the first international, well, not the first international, but the first non-English speaking person. If you want some kind of phrase that you want all people to say, then I can say that.
Oh, what do we want her to say, Cara? What should we say in Swedish? Because I want to try and say it as well.
Maybe say, what's for dinner?
Sure. Say, what's for dinner?
Yeah. Vad blir det till middag?
Say that again.
Vad blir det till middag?
Vad blir det till middag? That was
You got the last word. You got dinner. Middag. You got that right.
Can you say it? Can you slow it down a little bit?
Yeah, I'll get closer to the mic too.
Okay.
Vad blir
Glel.
Det
Det.
till
Till.
middag.
Middag.
Good job.
Vad glel. Okay, I'm gonna stop right now before I completely wreck your language.
That's fine. Oh, they do that enough on American TV. They have like, oh, this is a Swedish person, and they sound crazy. We don't sound like that most of the time, at least, or most of us.
Oh, I have one other question. Jensen Weaver wants to know, how is the news compared to Canada and the US? So I know here it's all like fantastical. You always hear absolutely horrible things about the worst possible outcomes, and you turn it on and everyone's dying, and yeah, they always sensationalize everything. Is it similar in Sweden?
I have to admit that I don't watch the news a lot. I watch like Sexy Phil, and that's where I get my news. Sexy Phil and What the Buck, that's basically it. But I do occasionally watch news in Sweden too, and I don't think it's as sensationalized as it is in America, because we do have like CNN and those kinds of shows here, or channels here too, and I've watched those, and there's definitely a difference. There's not this big, like, I don't know, like you described it. It's more like to the point and facts here, I think. But I may be biased just because I'm used to it.
Oh, I've got one other request here, that Megan wants you to teach Cara how to say life on the farm, so she can say it at the beginning of her vlog in Swedish.
Are you up for it, Cara?
Yeah, I should write it down. I don't know. What can I write on?
I can write it in the chat too.
Okay.
So it's easier, because I know it's difficult for you to hear what kind of letters I use. What was I gonna say? What did you say?
Life on the farm.
Life on the farm. Well, that's livet på gården. I'll write it in the chat too.
Livet på gården.
Gorda. It sounds like fat in Spanish.
Of course, we have these weird A's with circles on them.
Oh.
That's the O sound. På gården.
På gården. Cool.
That sounded good.
Cara, I'm expecting that on your next vlog.
Okay.
All right, so just a quick go through and tell everybody, in case they missed it at the beginning, because my computer pooped the bed and stopped working partially. So, Alexandra, tell us your name. I just said your name. Tell us your channel, and all of these will be in the bottom, so everyone can watch them and look at them and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I am Alexandra. I do a vlog with my son Tyrion, and the channel is Tyrion Vlogs. So that's pretty simple.
Cool. Cara?
Hi, I'm Cara. I live in Idaho, and I have a blog called Cara's Life on the Gorda. No. Farm. And we have 4. Anyway, my husband. Whatever.
Cool. And I'm Kaylene. So we have the Global Parent Chat, and we have Gareth Bodden. But I also just changed it to Bodden Vlog. So if you search Bodden Vlog with no S, it comes up. So anyways, it has been lovely. How do you say goodbye in Swedish?
Hej då.
Hej då. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to hit stop broadcast. It won't hang up on everybody, but let's say hej då to everybody who's watching.
Hej då.
And we'll see you guys next time.